Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So tonight, there is a debate that numerous candidates for the Mississauga Mayoralty are not invited to. There's only 3 that have been invited to speak. Last week, there were 2 debates that several candidates, including myself, were also not invited to participate in. And I think this really is bad for democracy. I've got a real problem with, but more importantly, I've met some of these candidates. And they're really nice people. They're really smart people. They're really capable, articulate people. And you know what? You deserve an opportunity to listen to them and hear what they've got to say. And so I invited them all, excuse me, on our show so we can have our own debate. And if all of we send it out, we'll get more attention than the 200 people or whatever it is that actually show up for the debate. So I want to introduce you to Mitchell McCracken, Sinisa Mandrapa, and
Hello.
Sara Iqbal. Thank you all very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Why don't we take a minute or so, and each one of you to start, can just tell me a little bit about your background, and then we're going to take I'm going to have a couple of questions. We'll have a great conversation for the next hour or so about who we are and what we stand for and what we think about the future of Mississauga. So, Mitchell McCracken, why don't you start off? Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Oh, you're close. You almost got the name right. It's McEachern.
McEachern.
McEachern, yes.
McEachern.
It's
Sorry about that.
impossible to read and say. I understand. So yeah, a little bit about me. I'm 37, and I was walking up Cawthra by Lakeshore, and I saw the by-election sign, and I was like, oh, that's a good way to get involved. And then I just jumped into the race. I didn't have a platform, and I totally don't understand the big problems that Mississauga is facing in any sophisticated way that I've seen demonstrated at the debates, but I do like the idea of like understanding and asking questions. I went to school for philosophy, so I'm really interested in like asking first and then asking again and then asking again until there's some kind of clarity or some kind of common language which we can use to unpack the problems further. And I'm also really interested in bringing people together because I believe emergent, discovered solutions are unpredictable by nature, and you only get at those by having people in a room throwing ideas at one another and seeing what lands and what communicates. So going forward with Mississauga, I would just love the idea of getting more public democratic debates going on about issues that they don't have to wait till every debate or every 2 years. They can happen more regularly. Once a month would be, I think, ideal.
I love the way on Monday when you just jumped up on stage and sat on the edge of the stage and just chatted with people. I agree. I think that we need a little bit more communication, a little bit more back and forth, a little bit more listening rather than just preaching to. Sara Iqbal, tell us a little bit about yourself if you could.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Sara Iqbal. I'm 19, and a lot of people were wondering why a 19-year-old would put their name to become like a mayor. I actually didn't even I wasn't planning on doing this. It was just a random thing. As soon as I saw that the former mayor Bonnie Crombie resigned, I was like, oh, it must be interesting to just try running for mayor. I'm 19, I have nothing to lose. But another reason I developed later on was oh, there's a lot of seasoned candidates that are much older than me who are bringing in the same ideas, the same platform, addressing the same issues while not really fixing the issues that our city has. And a lot of the young people don't really have a voice for someone who can fix issues that they have or issues that need to be addressed for young people, especially because a lot of the seasoned candidates beforehand said a lot of stuff but never actually did any of the stuff that they promised Mississauga residents that they would do. So literally just I put my name in for becoming the mayor, got the endorsement signatures, and as I'm going on in this process, I'm learning more and more stuff, reading the budget or reading posts to see what Mississauga residents, what issues they're facing. And yeah, that's literally why I'm running, to give young people a voice and to actually not have a really big platform, but focus on a few small issues. Sorry, not small issues, a few key issues that are crucial to Mississauga residents. Like I mentioned in the debate, the housing crisis, mental health services, I believe, is also a really big issue. and the construction. So focusing on those issues, but not promising like to fix a bunch of different issues.
Fantastic. And,
Yeah.
your comment about same old, and not actually making any change, not making any improvement, talking about it, but not making any change. I think I agree with completely. And I think it's a real shame. Sinisa Mandrape, tell me a little bit about yourself, sir, and why you're running for mayor.
Sinisha Mandrapa. So,
Sinisa Mandrape, I apologize.
good morning, everybody. Pleasure to be with you and have a chat. I'm a mayoral candidate, like everyone else here of the city of Mississauga. So I'm known for my background in grassroots activism in business planning, finances, and immigration consultation. And I'm advocating for sustainable development and transparency in our government, our local government, and municipal government. So my platform focuses on several issues. Some are affordable housing, public transportation, environmental conservation, and I think I'm the only candidate that would reduce taxes on all levels. And there was many different factors in how I would recuperate these numbers so it matches up to higher numbers than what we have now. And these are some of the things. I'm also very big on safety. I think our city went from the safest city in Canada in 1998 to now being a safe haven for criminality, whether it's domestic or it's tourism. So I think that we need to stop these things. And I've been reading a lot about the budget, the planning, the 618 pages, all the stats. And I've been going out. I've been speaking with a lot of people. I've been getting a lot of phone calls. And I think there's a lot of things in our city that we need to change now in order to build it into a bigger city, into a functioning, happy, good working city. So I hope that everything works.
Well, I completely agree. I think that 20% or 21% turnout in an election is proof positive that a lot of people, and a lot of people, frankly, all of your ages, are not paying attention, not participating, and not thinking that their voice is being heard. And so they've voted with their feet by not voting and saying that city council is not relevant and voting in the election isn't relevant. And so I think it's a real shame that the three of you and myself haven't had a chance to stand up or sit on that debate stage and make our points and make the arguments. And all they're doing is relying on the incumbents that have already got the established name, the established organization. And I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. People complain that there's no new ideas, that there's no new people, there's not an opportunity for a good competition. And yet the media only pays attention to the horse race of the established candidates. So I think that that's a real shame. I'm a candidate as well. So give me my 1 minute. My name is Brian Crombie. I'm running for mayor. And I've got a little bit of different. I've got a 40-year career in business. I've worked in Los Angeles, New York, Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, in numerous different roles in finance, strategy, and development. I've been chair of the Mississauga City Summit, president of the Mississauga Arts Council, and I've been in the background with a bunch of different political campaigns in Mississauga. So I think I know a little bit about what's going on in Mississauga. And I am really worried about where Mississauga is and where it's going in the future, and I want to make some positive change. And I think over the course of the next hour, we're going to hear not only from myself, but hopefully a lot from you guys about what some of the challenges are and what some of the changes are that we need to do. But we're now going to take a break for some messages and be back in 2 minutes with Mitchell McEachran, Sinisha Mandrapa, and Sarah Iqbal, and Brian Crombie, all candidates for mayor of Mississauga in the by-election that is happening on June 10th. June 10th is election day. And you know what? There's, I think, 20 people running. So not just the four of us and the four incumbents, but, another bunch of people that deserve to be heard. They deserve to have their voices, listened to. And I encourage you all to go check out their websites and, see what they got to say. See if you want to vote for them. Back in 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So tonight is a debate at UTM, and they've only invited 3 candidates. How can they call it an official debate if they've only invited 3 candidates? And so I decided that what we would do is we would have some of the non-invited candidates on my radio show to talk about what some of the big issues are. And the big issue that they're talking about tonight, supposedly, is how we increase housing. And, I think that the candidates that are on my show tonight, Mitchell McEachran, Sarah Iqbal, and Sinisa Mandrapi, really can probably speak to the challenge more than almost anyone, and probably more than those people that are up on stage that are established people, and frankly, probably more than me, because what they're saying right now is that people under the age of 40 just can't afford a house in Mississauga anymore. So let's go around the table and ask each one of you, what do you think the problem is with housing affordability? And what do you think we should do about it? And maybe Sinisa, we can start with you, sir.
Yeah. All right, perfect, Brian. I think we need to increase the supply of affordable housing, which means working with developers and community organizers to build more affordable units across Mississauga in different areas of Mississauga throughout all the wards, depending where there's barren land and where it needs extra development or rezoning for buildings that were small, they could be made into something bigger, because we are transforming into a metropolitan area. We're at 800, 2,000. Or a little bit higher maybe with now in the past few months. So whether it's rental apartments, starter homes, or supporting housing, we need to ensure everyone has access to safe and affordable housing options. And I believe that development's also good, because every so often when something is developed, you would need a certain space for a park or so. There's less space for these amenities now to allow parks or a school. But something like that still would get built. So it would be good for the community. And I think we need something that's affordable at the same time. So maybe we would need a little public housing in certain areas. Not all areas of Mississauga would be able to accommodate this situation. But let's say like Malton has a lot of land, the Cooksville, around Cooksville 5 and 10, down toward Lakeshore, toward Etobicoke. Maybe a little bit more public housing to help people out. And I think that we also need to, I need to advocate to prioritize affordable housing developments that protect tenants from unfair rent increases, because we're having major rent increases right now. And I think that, there needs to be a way that we need to work with the federal and provincial government in trying to attain an acceptable level where people aren't getting squeezed out of everything. And I think that from statistics, always when there's rising unaffordability and availability, this creates crime. So this is one of the reasons why we are having a higher level of crime. I think in order to reduce that, we would have to make life more attainable and a higher standard of living for everybody. So,
Mitchell, what do you think? We've got this incredible acceleration in housing of inaffordability. What do you think about the problem, and what would you do about it?
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand the problem first, and I just would love everybody's clarity on it, is to the best of our abilities. Like, for example, is if I'm right about this, and this is an oversimplification, but it's a metaphor. So it's like, we need to increase the amount of houses that we're building so that we can move more people into the country to buy them, so that we have to build more houses as they come in more, so that we need to increase the amount of houses so they can buy them. And we've got a bit of a feedback loop happening. And I just want to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly. I'm not saying that that's the way it is, but that's the way I've come to understand. I'm just wondering if everybody could chime in on that cycle. Is that accurate?
I think it is accurate to a certain extent, but I think it's compounded by the fact that we are building today the same number of houses that we built in the 1970s, and the population is 2.5 times the size. So we are dramatically underbuilding the amount of housing that we need. So, your point, does immigration make it even harder to meet the demand for housing? Yes, I think immigration does, and I think a lot of people have commented recently about needing to slow that down. And I think the federal government is probably doing that right now. But I think the base level is that because we've dramatically underbuilt the housing, so basic supply and demand, because demand has gone up by 2.5 times effectively in the last 50 years, and supply is only the same as it was in the past. We we've had housing prices that have
Yeah.
accelerated at like 300 to 400%. And it's unaffordable for guys like you to join. I got to interrupt, though. We've been joined by another contestant, another candidate for mayor. Winston, how are you? Welcome to the show, sir. Winston, can you hear me? I guess he can't hear me. Well, we'll have to come back to him in a minute. No, he's gone. So, Sarah, what do you think? What's the cause of the housing crisis, and what would you do about it?
Firstly, this issue, in my opinion, is not something that just the municipal government can work on. It's obviously a collective effort between like the provincial and the federal government as well. I think it starts because sure, there will be developers who create houses, but they're not targeting these housing projects towards like middle class individuals who can actually afford the houses. These project developments are created and houses are still $1.3 million, and houses are still out of range of affordability for most people in Mississauga. That's why I still believe there's a housing crisis, because predominantly in Mississauga, it's middle class. There's probably like the top 2% who live in the upper class, and sure, they can afford that, but individuals with a middle class budget obviously can't afford a $1.3 million house in Mississauga. So I feel like developers aren't developing projects, I guess, for housing towards the middle class to help them like afford the houses. So again, like I said, this issue is it's a really big issue that not just a municipality could fix. It needs like input from the federal government as well, so that they can come in and like, work with the municipal government to like create a solution for this.
I agree. The federal government, Prime Minister Trudeau last August made the comment that housing isn't a priority for the federal government. And then this last budget was primarily about housing. So he's had a fairly major change of heart. The provincial government has had Bill 109, Bill 23, et cetera, where they have tried to have some impact. But it's interesting because a lot of what they're doing is trying to influence and or cajole and or force municipal governments to change their ways. The infrastructure fund is being made available to municipalities only if they do certain things. Bill 23 and Bill 109, a lot of it was to force municipalities to shorten the approval process, to lower development fees, to allow fourplexes as of right. So I think that the federal and provincial governments, you're quite right, Sarah, have realize that they have a role, but a lot of that role right now is to try to get municipalities to catch up and to make the approval process far easier, far shorter, such that developers can actually build some of that housing that you need. Let me ask you all a different question, because you're all a little bit younger than I. The average turnout is 21%, but I understand the average turnout for people under the age of like 35 is less than 5%. For people my age and older, it might be actually 50%. So, older people vote, older landowners, homeowners vote, younger renters, students don't vote. Why and how can we change it? Mitchell, any ideas?
I thought about this a lot, and I'm open to hearing everybody's ideas, because this is tricky. But I think personally, I think it has a lot to do with just the level of like effectiveness. Like, how much does this vote actually matter at the end of the day? Is this the best use of my time? I'd rather do something else, because I know that this doesn't matter. I don't know anybody in government. I don't understand the systems. I don't understand the budget. I don't even want to understand those things, because they just seem opaque to me, and it's just more work. And I'd rather not do any of those things. I'd rather just have fun and enjoy my life. And I think I've been thinking like making government more transparent and engaging in not in a celebratory way, but it's a hard sell, but it's like preventative medicine, like taking care of the system, understanding how the system works, so that it doesn't degrade in a subsystem, in a system that's not working as well as it could be. I think we need to, the leadership has to make an effort to educate the public and maintain themselves as a transparent vessel as often as possible, to just show face and make sure we're talking about it. Otherwise, it will just slip out of mind, or I don't care anymore attitude.
What could they do to make it more transparent to you and to your friends?
I love the idea of live streaming things, like literally live streaming them. So like I know that they live cast like the council meetings, but like when the counselor's out doing stuff during the day, they should be live streaming. Or when they're at an event where they're talking about policy, they should be live streaming it as a way to like just get rid of that separation. It's not something that happens in closed doors in an office. And if it is happening in closed doors in an office, live stream that. Just keep putting the information out there so it's available. So at the very least, it's out there, and the younger generation can access it whenever they feel like they need to. It can all be cataloged too, like a modules in teaching.
Sarah, you showed up at the debate 2 Fridays ago with a whole table of friends. What do your friends think about you running, and what do they think about municipal politics? Do they think that it's relevant, or do they think it's irrelevant the way that Mitchell was mentioning?
So I'm going to be very honest. They know nothing about municipal elections, the way it works. They were very supportive of me running just because I'm their friend, and it's good to see like a fresh perspective, a fresh face onto like a panel where there's much seasoned candidates. Where I think why a lot of younger individuals don't vote is, one, because they're not interested in municipal elections, because anyone who's in the municipal government is not even addressing any of the concerns that they have, which is the reason why they don't even think that like their vote matters, or like they don't care to learn about the process of how to vote or anything like that. And I also think that another reason for like a low turnout in younger individuals, like let's say compared to like the federal election, where you're seeing advertisements constantly, you're seeing commercials constantly, and you're seeing like lawn signs constantly of individuals running for like federal election. Mayoral elections don't really get as much attention. Well, in my opinion, in this by-election, it's not gaining as much attention. And young individuals are always on social media. Individuals, they're always on their phones. So I really don't think that the younger generation cares, in my opinion. If they're always on their phone, then like they're not really like paying attention to like the news or stuff, or they're not like they're not really paying attention to the news, or like they only care about topics that they're interested in. So if they're always on their phone, what I was doing was like informing people about like the elections over the phone, or like targeting advertisements through social media to them so that it can reach them and they could be aware that like there is like a municipal election. Long story short, I don't think the younger generation cares, because the seasoned candidates that are in power don't address any of the concerns that young individuals face. So they say there's no point to even vote. That's why there's probably a low turnout rate in like younger individuals.
You just said that the seasoned candidates, I would use different words, I wouldn't call them seasoned candidates, but the incumbent candidates don't care about what young voters care about. That's a pretty loud statement. That's a pretty bad statement. That's a statement that really should be shameful, frankly, for those candidates to hear, that they don't care about what young people think about. Sinisa, what do you think? Why is turnout so low, and what can we do about it? And what do your friends think about you running for mayor?
Okay, so I think that government is very important in life, and I think that depending on the system and the region of the world, it all depends. And we're a constitutional monarchy, so here government is basically everything. And I think that the engagement with government is mostly in different areas. It goes into child care and stuff like that, but child making. But I think in our area, it's pretty much a lot financial. So I think that the interaction is very financial, so that the younger generation is less in tune with the businesses and of the sort. So I think that this is one of the reasons. The business aspect, there's not too many young people. There is some that have big businesses, but there's not too many. So I think that this is the main aspect. But there's also influence. Maybe the government isn't doing such good of a job in certain things and in certain aspects in certain sectors. So people put a cloud over it, and then it's like a stigma. Why be in this, or why are you a part of that? So I think that, and why are you a part of this party? Because a lot of parties say a lot of different things, and you could always find something you like, and you could definitely find something you don't like. So these are all very important aspects. I think it all comes down to the economics, to the business. And I think that outreach is also very important, but this works out in what is everybody doing and what is everybody's occupation. And then it's the whole celebration of voting. It's what are we voting to change? Because usually it's a pretty similar system, so we're not changing too much. So if
But
there
we
was a
could.
celebration to
We
change
could and we
something,
should.
yeah.
You know, I think that Sarah's really hit on it. I really think that we have a failed municipal democracy, and 21% turnout, where 4 out of 5 people don't even bother going to the ballot box, is proof positive that we have a failed democracy. You know, if Russia or some other country had 80% of the people that didn't bother to show up, we'd say, "Oh my God, it's not really a true democracy." You know, clearly people don't care and don't show up, so it's effectively not a democracy. And for some reason, we put up with it in our own system. And I think that one of the reasons why, and you know, I've heard this from lots of people, and so I'd be interested in your points of view on this, is that I worry that too many of the people that get elected, particularly in municipal politics, don't actually care about everybody. They care about only the people that vote for them and go out and vote on election day. And so if all the people that go out and vote, or the vast majority of them, look like me and are my age and older, then that's who the councillors, you know, end up having incentives system established to make sure that they can get people that are my age and older to go and vote for them. And if people your ages collectively aren't going out, there's, even though they should be working for all of you, even they should be thinking about all of your concerns, I don't think they do. And I really worry that we have given our young people, and I'm going to be, you know, assuming that you're all young because you all look fantastic and far better than I think that all of our young people, you know, frankly, have their feet in cement right now. At least we've put them in cement because we've given them, you know, high debt, high taxes, unaffordable housing, climate change concerns, you know, the war in Eastern Europe, a war in the Middle East. You know, you've got, and some of you, I don't know about you, Sarah, but if you're 19 years old, you probably spent the last couple of years in high school not having sports, not having clubs, not having social activities. We've got kids that are in university that, you know, just this year, for the first time, they're actually able to go to frat parties and sporting events and get out of their residence rooms. So we've spent the last 2 or 3 years isolated. And then someone comes along and says, an AI could take all of your jobs away. You know what? You've got some challenges. And I really worry that our current politicians are not listening to you and not addressing your concerns. Anyway, that's my point of view. And I think that's one of the reasons why turnout is low, is that people aren't addressing you from a concern standpoint, aren't listening to you. And frankly, come back to this debate as one example. They're not allowing you a stage, a platform to get up and express your points of view. And if we're not going to give you a stage, a platform to express your points of view and not even bother listening to you, what does that say? That says that we're excluding you from the democratic process, and then more of you aren't going to show up at the ballot box and vote. Anyway, we got to take a break for a message, and we're going to be back in 2 minutes with Mitchell McCachran, Sinisa Mandrapa, and Sarah Iqbal, all candidates for mayor of Mississauga in the by-election that is happening on June 10th. All have got websites. All are really articulate, interesting people that all deserve your consideration. I'm not saying you got to vote for them or me, but, you know, at least listen to what we got to say. At least allow us into the debates. At least allow us an opportunity to express our point of view. Don't muzzle us, please. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Tonight, we're having a little bit of a debate of the people that aren't included in the upcoming debate. Oh, and Mitchell, you've joined us again. Winston, I mean. How are you, sir? Are you there? You're on mute. You got to take your mute off. Another candidate, Winston, has just joined us, and so let's give him a chance to introduce himself. Winston, How you doing?
I'm great. Good day, good day, good day, everyone. Be alive.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
I am Winston Harding. As a candidate for mayor of Mississauga, I bring a unique blend of experience, vision, and dedication to the community. I have a background spanning over 25 years in real estate. I'm a university graduate with a doctorate of divinity, an authorship of over 14 books across various expanse. I stand apart as a candidate who understands the city needs and challenges. My commitment is to excellence, integrity, and service drive my vision for a better Mississauga. My journey as an author has been one of exploration and expression. Through my books, I have delved into diverse subjects from poetry to prose, motivating and inspiring readers around the globe. Each book is a testament of my passion for storytelling and my belief in the power of words to uplift and inspire. My envision of Mississauga where every resident had access to affordable housing, where taxes are kept affordable, and where our seniors and disabled citizens receive the support they need. I advocate for subway for Mississauga, believing it will not only improve transportation, but also boost economic growth and connectivity.
Winston, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. That's great. Awesome. We're going to go around the circle if we could, and everyone, give me one big idea that you think that you would advocate for that would change things that are happening in Mississauga. Winston's just mentioned the subway. Mitchell, have you got a big idea of what you think can change?
Yeah, I did. I actually had the idea last night. It was kind of neat. I have a buddy of mine. I've worked in the indie music scene in Toronto for a long time. And one of the ideas was to so Mississauga is a large geographic space and it's got a lot of spread and interconnecting people so that they know what the live art scene would be doing at any given time is an app that this guy's developed, and he's been using it in Toronto for years so that venues and fans and artists could all interact online. And I was like, what if Mississauga became the cultural arts hub of Southern Ontario, and its emphasis was on street performances out front of stores, live events at bars, like trying to rebuild the small business angle through the use of art. And this would be like a social media for Mississauga, but it's explicitly about connecting people to the arts and culture that's happening at any given time in some of the smaller venues throughout the municipality, so that we could know, hey, let's go to North Mississauga because they're doing this paint thing there, or we can go to South Mississauga because they're playing music.
Giving a lot more publicity to the arts and culture. I was president of the Mississauga Arts Council, and we tried hard to do that, and I think we could do a lot more. There's no question. Sarah, what about you? Any big idea that you think could change Mississauga that you've been advocating for?
I actually never thought of this question before. So this is like a new question. I never thought of something big that I would like to see in Mississauga, but something that I thought of like on the spot was to create like a women's sports league catered towards like Mississauga residents. I know Toronto has like a PWHL women's hockey league that actually got a lot of attention. So creating like a women's sport team, not just catered to hockey, but like basketball or soccer. So like a bunch of different sports. And then this is a really big idea, but creating like a sports complex, actually not a complex, but like maybe like an arena where a hockey field, a hockey rink could be transformed into like a basketball court so that the hockey team can play, so can the basketball team. And then that would gain a lot of attention like it has in Toronto for women's sports, and really just putting like Mississauga on the map for sports. That's a vision that I see.
Sanish, what about you? Big idea?
So yeah, I have some of these ideas in my plan if you read online, but I believe an arena is mandatory, a stadium somewhere where we could host major league sports. Because I remember as a kid we'd celebrate our Leafs like victories on the streets here in Mississauga, mini parades. But we need something bigger than Hershey Center. Hershey Center is around 5,516. So we need something that's at least 20, 30,000 where we could house different events, different venues, and where we could actually bring in concerts, do festivals. Major league sports would be the best. We do have the CFL league. We don't have it in Mississauga, but we do have a CFL league, and there's all the American leagues, the MLS, the NBA, the NHL, the MLB. MLB has an expansion now currently, so this would be a viable option. Something that where we could come together and really become a city, because we are a city in the statistics, it's over 10,000 and this and that. But we need to become a city on the map where when we're looking at the map, we don't miss Mississauga by going from Toronto to Hamilton. I think we need a little part in maps. And I think that we need to be on the news a lot more, like a frequent city, because like we do have a lot of people and we really don't have that much attention. For a city, if you look at other cities in Canada, they have a lot of attention, even if they have 700,000 people. We're very, the teams make the revenue is 314, 353 million per team. So the Maple Leafs, the Raptors, and the Blue Jays, the MLS makes 62 million revenue, and the CFL Argonauts makes 6.2 million. So these are all astounding numbers that could really help our city. There's a lot of job growth, and there's high paying jobs, and there's numerous paying jobs, plus the construction of the arena would bring in many jobs, material usage. These are huge numbers, and this is on an annual basis. So this would bring something. The most
Yeah, everything that you're saying, I think is true. The challenge that we've got is the Hershey Center, now called the Paramount Center. You're right, is just over 5,000 people. It actually loses money every time it has an event because there's not enough people that come comparable to the capacity. And so as you may know, the Mississauga Steelheads have actually moved to Brampton because they're getting so few people coming to games that it looks like the place is empty. So they want to move into a smaller space. So I think we have a real problem. Now, part of it is we don't have transit there. We don't have good road access. There's not an exit off of the 403 onto Matheson. And so getting there is a hassle. And one of the keys you need to have successful sports franchises, as some of you may know, I was chief financial officer for the Ottawa Senators. And so I actually know this topic reasonably intimately. You got to have good transit, and without good transit, whether it's rapid transit, public transit, or good transportation, if you don't have that, people don't come. But I do agree. I think that we need something that gets people excited. Let me give you my idea. We have got a port facility in Port Credit that is 18 acres. It's 150,000 square feet. It's one Port Street. It's owned by the federal government. It sticks out into Lake Ontario. It's absolutely beautiful. And right now, all it does is store boats and geese droppings. And if it was in Toronto, it would be St. Lawrence Market. If it was in Vancouver, it would be Granville Island Market. If it was in New York, it'd be South Street Seaport. There are 19 cities in North America today developing waterfront retail entertainment facilities because they know people love to go to the water, beside the water, to something that's got retail, that's got entertainment, that's got arts, that's got culture, that's got amusement, that's got something going on. And we've got it right here in our backyard, and we're not exploiting it. Right now, the municipal government and the federal government is proposing to put up 10 condos. Last thing we need is another 10 condos when we've got Brightwater just to the east and Lakeview to the west and Lakeview just to the east. This could be the center of arts and culture for Mitchell, you and your friends, and it could be a place where all of us want to go walk. Winston, are you still there? I see you're still there. Do you want to come back and tell us your big idea? If you're still there,
Well,
please.
like I said, my big
Turn on your
idea-
camera, sir.
Okay, just now. You're not seeing me, eh?
No, you're not there. When you come back with your camera, we'll let you speak.
Okay.
Come on back with your camera. There you are. What's your big idea, sir? You talked about subways. What else?
Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, my big idea for the subway is that we could have the subway coming from Kipling to Ontario and Dundas. Then the terminal will be right at Dundas. Therein, all around there, you would build an arena. You'd build condo right at Dundas and New Ontario. But again, how would this be funded? So speaking about a big idea, bringing the subway to Dundas and New Ontario and then to Square One, you need the money. Previously, I communicated with Premier Wynne about this, and there was a process going in place, but something took my thoughts away. However, what was asked for was a special dedicated lottery to help to fund it. I still believe that. I still think it can be done. It would be a $5 billion project, but it can be done. That is what I think of a subway for Mississauga. Having a subway for Mississauga will enhance the transportation system. It will have people moving around much easier, and that is part of my plan.
I appreciate
for the
that. So
subway.
there's actually environmental studies that have been done and approved to take a subway extension from Kipling to Dixie, not all the way to here, Ontario, but to Dixie. So we could actually take it along the existing rail bed. As some of you may know, I'm chairman of a GTA-wide organization called Transit Alliance, and there is these environmental studies that have been done. There's a developer at Cloverdale that's building 16 towers at Cloverdale that's working with Metrolinx and the provincial government to get it extended from Kipling to the East Mall, so to the 427. Sherway would love it to stop at Sherway. If you've seen, the railway tracks come very close to Sherway, and Yorkdale gets 25% of its demand from the subway. So, you know, and it's nice because it's almost cheap capacity because people are going the opposite direction than they are when they're going to work, when they're going, you know, to Yorkdale, and would be, I think, the same thing to Sherway. The challenge, though, Winston, and I think this is something that we need to confront our politicians with, is that if you think about the subway extension to Vaughan, it was justified because they built 40 and 50-story towers. And if you've been up to the Vaughan Metro Center, it's spectacular what they built there, but you don't get a provincial government to fund a subway unless you're going to build that. There's going to be a subway that extends to Steeles and then into Richmond Hill, the Yonge Street subway. They're building 15 towers of 50 stories each at Yonge and Steeles. You know what the capacity is? The maximum height is at Dixie, 12 stories. You're never, ever, ever going to get a subway if Vaughan is building 40 and 50 stories, if Richmond Hill and Vaughan at Yonge Street are building 40 and 50 stories, and all we're doing is 12 stories at Dixie Road. So that's, I think that's the big challenge.
There are quite a few condos that are being built and Dundas right now from Kipling.
At Kipling, yes. At Kipling
you
for
aware
sure,
of that?
but not at, yes, at Kipling, at Islington, at the old 6 points, but not at Dixie. And that's the change that's got to take place if you're ever going to have the dream of a subway coming beyond Sherway. Anyway, we got to take a final break for messages, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to give each one of these candidates for mayor, all very articulate, smart people, a final chance to give you their pitch. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So as we've said tonight, there's a debate that numerous candidates and all of us on the screen right now are not invited to speak. And I think it's a real tragedy that you're not getting an opportunity to listen to all these articulate, smart, capable people that have taken the effort to put their name forward. and campaign for mayor. And so I thought we'd have this little debate and see if we can get some attention for some of these very capable candidates. So let's go around and give everyone a minute or two to give their final pitch and tell us their website and why Mississauggans should think about voting for them. Mitchell, you're on number one, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for holding the debate, Brian. Appreciate you giving us some space to talk about our ideas and everything. I'm basically thinking about this like a fresh perspective. I know I don't work at a grocery store, but that's kind of the way I see it. Is like and I can't believe, Sarah, you're 19. That's unbelievable. I thought I was the young one, but I'm glad that you're beating me by quite a bit. I just want to make things, I just love understanding things. I was trying to get transparency. I love the idea of community and bringing people together. I know social media is a great way to bring people together and to educate each other on what's going on. So as the mayor, I kind of look at myself as being like the face, or like out in the community with the phones, talking to the people, trying to not just to tell them what we're doing, but to listen to them so that they can feel like they're being heard, so that they feel like they're part of a system as opposed to just in a system, and then improve on the quality of the relationships in all different parts of as like a megaphone would, running around just telling people all the cool stuff that's happening in the city, so it's not all doom gloom, and we can, if more people get involved, more people can make changes, and then maybe we can figure out a longer lasting solution to some of the endemic problems we have in democratic governance. So
Mitchell, have
that's
you got
what
a
I would do.
website?
I would make it fun again. Let's make Mississauga fun again.
Let's make Mississauga fun again. Have you got a website, sir?
I don't. I'm trying to just stay on one thing, and Mississauga is my Instagram. So we're gonna be called Mississauga.
Mississauga sounds great. Sarah, give us your pitch.
Yeah, so my campaign, firstly, thank you for inviting all of us and giving us like a platform to speak on. Like, I appreciate it a lot. Short and sweet, my campaign is addressed to I just want to like fix all of those key crucial issues that I identified earlier, not making a super big platform, saying a bunch of different promises. You guys know I'm 19. I give a bunch of new bright ideas, I guess, that like many of the older candidates who have been in government aren't able to understand, just because I'm a younger individual. So I see what the younger individuals need in our city. So I'm able to offer that route for them. As a mayor, I would want to hear what individuals want rather than like assuming that these are the issues that our city has. I would firstly just go out to individuals like I have and ask them what concerns they have within the city, instead of just saying like, oh, this is an issue in the city, or this is an issue in the city that I need to address. Because actually going out to people and hearing their concerns, that's how you're and addressing it, and like creating ideas of how to like fix those changes is actually how change will be present in the city. I don't have a website, but I do have an Instagram. It's Sara Mayor for Mayor. And just if you guys want a fresh perspective, a fresh face compared to like much of the older candidates or much of the candidates who are already in power for a long time and already have a developed platform. I don't really have a developed platform just because this is all so new to me. But like I'm learning every day to like be better for the city.
What a radical idea. Go out and listen to people. Go out and listen to people. Radical idea. I love it. Winston, give us your pitch. Why should we vote for you for mayor, sir?
Yes, thank you. For one, I don't believe I can't just accept that sitting councillors should be running without resigning, because they're not giving others the opportunity. I think a council need new faces. The people coming in to run for mayor or for council, new people should be given the opportunity. I see a Mississauga of progress, of industriousness, of connectivity with the different cultures, of people who are noble, a city of progress, a vibrant city. I want to represent that city. I'm a minister. I've been in real estate for a long while, and I'm an author. I bring a difference to the city. I have before run for council in Ward 3, and we have seen right now where they want to put a one lane on Bloor Street. I'm against that. Bloor Street should remain as it is. I stand for the people, for the disabled, and for senior citizens. We need more help. We need more shelters in the park. We need more seating in the park and more bus shelters in the wintertime when it's so cold. I need to see that happening in Mississauga. So I am Winston Hardin, and my website is hardinformayor.com. Thank you. Please vote for me, and I'll be there for you.
Awesome.
Thank you. God bless.
Sinisa, over to you, sir.
My name is Sinisa Mandrapa. I would just like to thank Brian for putting us all together and everybody coming out. It's an amazing time to have a great chat with everybody. And anybody that will be listening, I would just like to say a huge thanks. It's a wonderful day. I would mainly focus on many different aspects, but transparency and accountability, I think, would be the main portion of what would happen with me being mayor. I want to be the face of a city that it's not going to be a city. It's going to be something where everybody can be a part of, where people that visit, they say I've been to Mississauga. I've never heard anybody say I've been to Mississauga. When I speak with people from around the world, they say they've been to Toronto, they've been to Hamilton. Nobody ever really mentions Mississauga. I want to be a Mississaugan. I would like this city to be expressed in a good fashion, in a happy way, and people visiting and saying they had a great time, they had a great experience, they saw something new, they had a different feeling, the atmosphere they liked. So I would like a lot more inclusivity. I think we need a lot more inclusivity in our community engagement, in our finances, in all sectors of our life. We need a lot more community engagement and inclusivity, because everybody we have certain parts of the city now, and some people are with them, some people are with these people. It's not really interconnected. I think we need to be interconnected to be a functioning society that actually excels and that actually is a very popular place to be in, so for our culture to rise. So we have, because we have a little bit of a different culture from different places. So I think that we should really resemble on this. And I think that.
Do you have a website or an Instagram that you want to take us to?
Yeah, I do. My website is www.mandrapaformayor.com. And my Instagram is Sinisa Mandrapa. And you could I'll leave my phone number too, 647-207-7474. And you could reach me at any time.
Winston Harding, Sara Iqbal,
Yes.
Sinisa Mandrapa, Mitchell McCucken. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. You know, I do think we've got a real challenge because I do think we have a failed municipal democracy with 20%, 21% of the people showing up. What it says is that so many people just don't think that municipal politics is relevant. And I really congratulate all of you for putting your name forward, for going out to talk to people, as Sara said, actually going to listen to the new voices. And I think that we should all collectively be given an opportunity to present at debates, at all candidates meetings, etc., because we deserve a voice. And maybe what we would do, radical thought, is actually get turnout to increase. And so all these people that are just going back to the incumbents, it's the old Einstein line of doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. So maybe we should actually think about some of the other voices and give
Brian, may I say something?
Sure, we got to go though, so real quick.
Yeah, I would like a few of the candidates we get together and go to the homeless shelter and create something to show that those people, homelessness is a demand in our city. We need more homes.
I agree.
So
we got to go. Together. We're out of time. I apologize.
Thank you.
I'm on every night at 6
Brian,
o'clock.
For this. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. I'm on every night at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at saga960am.ca. Good night, everybody.